And now, who's the king of hip hop? GNL. Just thinking obvious things. These are very obvious things. Why do people ask obvious questions?
Yeah. So people asking the obvious.
They're obvious. Like, what air? Do you breathe in air? Of course I breathe in air.
Yeah.
Who's the king of GNL? Like, are you GNL?
So he was asking the obvious. All right.
Yeah.
Let's dig in further. What are your thoughts through your lenses? How do you see hip hop then and hip hop now? Because of course there is a new breed of rappers, but of course there are also the OGs from back in time. And by back in time, let's stretch it to let's look at the era of 2007.
2007. I wasn't even here. I wasn't here in 2007.
Okay,
I was here in 2009.
Let's look at 2009.
Yes. That's when I first did Soda Ginger, by the way.
Yes.
You get me? Yeah.
So if you look at that time, 2008, 9 to 2016.
Okay, let me first put an observation for everybody out here to just catch up with the times and where we are with hip hop.
Yeah.
What shows my gravity and power is not because I brag a lot. I mean, I brag on facts, or chilava. But the fact is that if you look at the trajectory of hip hop Uganda, like as a graph, yeah, it only excels when GNL is around.
Yeah.
I went away for almost 10 years, and hip hop fell. And I came back and saw hip hop in a very sorry state. I went and visited hip hop in a hospital, and hip hop was like, I'm almost dying, bro. What you going through about this stuff? So I was like, I need to release a new. This Jamo Musai Guange. I gave hip hop them take up a drip. 2 pesos. Really the whole night.
Yeah.
Now hip hop is starting to breathe again and walk again and jump around. Then other people are like, me also I do hip hop. But before they left hip hop in the gutter, it was raining. Hip hop came and knocked and like, bro, take me in. They're like, nah.
But G, during that time, some of your brothers like Navio, the Myth and the likes were still doing music. Do you feel they were not doing enough? Amongst others have not them dropped.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has their contribution. Like I say, I did say nobody had a contribution. You get me? It's not a single hero story. But I just say that whenever I'm in the country, something changes about hip hop. There's an energy that I bring. It's just like having a car. You have a flying car somewhere. Some people are tires. Some people are windshields. Some people are the body, right? Yeah. But then there's you being the engine. It can't go forward without the engine. You get me? It can't go forward without the engine. Yeah. And I solely believe that I'm the engine of this thing.
Now, there is an interview you did. I don't know the exact time when you did this, but I found to quote verbatim, don't nominate me without my consent. And I think here you're referring to the Ugandan Music Award. What triggered that stance? And do you feel that the industry has disrespected your brand, that is that compelled you to make such a statement?
It's usually about, I mean, the quality of music that we do, right, is passion, it's love, right? It's like trying to explain yourself to somebody who is committed to misunderstanding you. Have you ever been there? When you explain somebody to something, so for example, I'll give you an example. We always tell people what hip hop is, right? But then they say, but you look at the other person and you're like, no, we don't do the same thing. We both rap, but it's not the same thing. Nabazanya handball, Nabazanya basketball. To Uganda, it's but those are two different sports. So we are out here balling with this hip hop thing. When I first came through, they first told me to sound like Ragadi and Goni because that's what would sell. But I told them, nah, Soda Ginger is different from what my brothers do. Much as I love their music, this is totally different. So I look at me being categorized with some other people and I'm like, no, don't disrespect my craft. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from those other people, but don't disrespect my craft calling it something else. That's why people like Kendrick Lamar are stuck to their craft, and now they're like, you completely misunderstand what we do. You think it's radio hits. Yeah. You think it's driving around rapping gangster lyrics. But it's actually soul music, spirit music. You get me? Yeah. So I looked at that and I was like, don't put me in your categories. By the way, I have 54 awards. I don't even know where some of them are. My relatives took them.
More than your age.
Even more than my age. Don't cut the guy one. Yeah, but I have more awards than my age.
Yeah.
So at some point the awards become useless because what the award ceremonies do, right? There are some good ones, but there's some really whack ones in music, yeah?
Yeah.
That all they do is collect the musicians, use your music, yeah? They go and get sponsorship money, and then they give musicians a wooden thing.
Yeah.
As the musicians don't share in the profits of award ceremonies, but they need you to drive up the support, right?
Support, yeah.
Now, I know how hard it is for organizations to put together awards, so I give credit to the people who do it out of the pureness of their hearts.
Yeah.
But we need to also recognize the exploitation at the end of the day.
Nice.
People, there are people with 12 awards in their houses, but they are broke. They can't even go sell their awards to get a meal.
Yeah.
People who are learning about something that can't car wash. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we need to recognize game, like peep game.
Nice.
I don't need the award.
Nice.
My fans are my award.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. What do you think about music, the trends, the sound in general, and how it's being received? Why am I saying this? Back in time, you do a song like Uba Katambala. And you would sing word for word.
Yes.
There's a song where you start, Peter Majani, your face, you know?
Gasina kuteeka mwana
Gasina mwana
ndani
ndani.
takumatira ng'omusiramu bwe yamatira Qur'an bebuze omwana w'omusisi wa pan. What the hell have you done?
Yeah.
Bagamba rap music has always been a part of my plan. Kubira abaana basitya rap ninga amasannyalaze mu kyalaani. Kuno nsonze plan gye nna ya Kaiser Soze.
Yeah.
Okitegeera.
Yes. Now, you remember those days?
Yeah.
We could go on and on, songs back to back. Classics. You know, for most of us, we used to resonate, especially with the vibe and art, vis-a-vis the kind of music that is being released right now, for what people are terming as the younger audience. You know, do you think the younger audience is tapping into these trends, or are you also, let me also add this, are you also sometimes driven by the trends, the sound and all that?
Yeah, by the way, here's the thing. I love young people music. There's a clip my friend usually shares with me. It's called Guts. He's a photographer. Kagenda, amasannyalazo gawulira. You get me? So I like waking up in the morning to that kind of energy. So there's nothing wrong with that. The only difference is with the music that I do is that if I'm to release an album, you're going to get that energy. But you're also going to get a story and the song that encourages you when you're depressed to go work. Like in below. But while most people, all they do, like listen to all their whole catalog and their whole playlist, and you're like, bruh, I'm all about making money. Give me a song that's going to inspire me to make money.
Yeah.
Not just spend money and take shisha, destroying my life. There's a time for, the Bible says there's a time for happiness, a time for crying, a time for working, a time for this. But for us, time you wake up at 34, you're broke, you've done nothing in your life. Because the music you listen to that feeds your mental is empty. That's my only argument. I'm not against fun. Actually, I'm very fun. I love fun. If you see me outside, please run away. I'll influence you to having too much fun. You get me? But at the end of the day, I'm also a very conscious artist. I love progression and elevation and growth.
I like that. Let's get into some questions here. These are from our online platforms. Today, as I said, we're going to move so fast. This right here is from a journalist. Though you say they should not shouldn't share your name. You're saying, GNL, you have criticized anonymous online trolls and called for more respectful discourse. But do you think your own bold statements sometimes invite that kind of backlash and energy? That's one question. There's another one here. You've blended spiritually. Okay, this is multiple. You have blended spiritually activism and art in your recent work. Do you ever feel misunderstood by fans who just want the old GNL back? We have a new GNL and an old GNL. These are now journalists, and I appreciate the different.
I love those questions. They're very, very mature questions. Huh? So let's look at it this way. When I was born, I was GNL. Bali Makanza asked, mommy. Mommy thought I was asking for a cup of milk. I slapped it away. Mommy. I was pointing at the microphone, so my mom gave me a microphone and began spitting. So that's the Kayanga GNL. You get me? Like whether you like the GNL of Koi Koi, whether you like the GNL of speaking vernacular, of Uganda Yafe, the GNL of Nsimbi, the GNL of the Spear, the GNL, the new album called GNL The Homecoming. All of those versions are me. You get me? When you come through to a GNL show, I give you all of that flavor. It's all GNL. There's no difference. You get me?
Buffet.
So it's a buffet. Like you just come through to the GNL table and you have your soul food or chiraba. Yes. Now about the bold statements that I usually do on Twitter. Sometimes I wake up and I'm with in the US we call it being with the shits. When you want all the smoke. You get me? But my statements are not just bold and they're not just baseless. When I say I'm number 3 or number 2 in Uganda, I have the evidence to show.
Yeah.
You get me? I have the evidence to show and the catalog to show for it. I've spent hours in studio building this work and this craft. And also, some people, you've asked me a question of whether other people in hip hop have not contributed. But some people, you look at their career, 25 years, something, that they have never signed anybody. And you're like, bruh, really?
Yeah.
With resources? Like, really? Nobody?
Yeah.
Nobody out there deserves to be signed, to be given a chance to shine. So I look at that and I'm like, that's a mark of greatness when you recognize other people's talents.
Yeah.
Not just your hobbies, but like your other people out there need to be the spotlight. So when I look back at my career, much as I received the criticism, that's a very bold statement where I'm like, you are supposed to sign somebody else. Hip hop is about passing on the torch.
Yeah.
Earlier somebody was telling me, Snoop, Kendrick and them, like the whole West Coast, somebody had to pass on the torch. Yeah.
How would you define your legacy?
My legacy, I don't know. I don't think my legacy should be defined by me. My legacy should be defined by the people. It would be very egotistic of me to define my own legacy.
Yeah.
But it's my duty to remind you because people forget sometimes. Yeah.
All right. Jonas here. All right. Okay. Someone is saying, okay. Nice. Someone is saying, Calvin, you asked GNL a question, but it was not direct. Please. Here it is again. Some critics argue that your recent music hasn't resonated with young audiences. Do you think the message is being lost, or
haters
just not listening deeply enough?
No, let me explain something to you. Yeah. When the sun is not shining in Uganda, do you know that right now in New York they are sleeping? In New York and Los Angeles, they are sleeping.
Yeah.
In Uganda, it's daytime. Tukuba pate yafe, which take tuli ku UBC. So when it's night time here, it's daytime over there. Believe it or not, the world does not end at the border of Busia and Katuna. So if you don't hear my music resonating here, it's because that particular album wasn't designed for here. It was shining and banging somewhere else, in Los Angeles or wherever. But it's also like a very, very big lie that people convince themselves that that's such a statement. How do you quantify it without asking all the young people in Uganda? Because the people who are convinced that I have one of Uganda's most experimental albums, which is the Spear album.
Yeah.
You get me? Some twamanyira music team buli lw'omukuba wabeera wakuwogana no banange mumpulira, and everybody does the same thing. But there's music you need to listen to, go to a theater, and then you clap after.
Nice.
Some people are not used to that concept, but I get it, yeah.
We're still catching up with GNL Zamba. I'm seeing some pictures. Ray J has also arrived, some live pictures right there. This is going to be his maiden appearance on Horizon Vibes, so look out for his interview coming up in the next few minutes from now. Right about now, you're still chilling with greatness. And that is GNL Zamba in the building, Mr. Amazing.
Thank you.
How is family though?
Oh man, I have one of the most beautiful babies, like I think in the world.
And how is fatherhood?
I'm loving fatherhood. Oh, I delayed a lot because the joy is too much. The joy is too much. Even this morning, like I was like leaving. I remember I hadn't eaten, and I was telling my friend Esther, who helps me out at the house, like, please bring me an apple and some water. We are rushing out, but my boy is the one who came out holding the apple. And that just like melts my heart sometimes. Like he's so cute, we should set limits to cuteness sometimes. The reason why I put him on the internet is because it's too cute for the internet. Too cute for the internet.
Now, I want to take, to pick your mind. Caesarman posted something yesterday that I found quite interesting. There could be some truth.
Shout out to Caesarman, by the way.
There could be some truth to it. And why I'm saying this is because you're one of those artists who has done something big things with yourself. It was like, in Kampala, if you are not careful, you can reach 34 years with nothing in life, only good pictures from nightclubs and lodges. Days ago, I saw you, of course, inspiring people with your new acquisitions. Zambaland.
Hey.
Let's try to make sense of what Caesarman is saying vis-a-vis what you have been about the last couple of years.
Caesarman is so right, and it's the same thing I've been trying to tell people. You can chase hits in Uganda and you have 50 hits. No fangatoina nyumba, no fangatoina motoka, no fangatoina cholina, but you look good because you can always go borrow the clothes from a house and they take pictures, you get me? And you go to places where there's a swimming pool and you pause. That's empty. There is truth where you need to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what is my career really coming to? Where am I evolving to? It's the same thing which I've been telling you about, where they give you the award, which is wooden, and it makes a lot of news, right? But there's no cash value being given to you.
Oh, yes.
I used to tell my artists that it doesn't matter where you're called to go perform, because that's money.
Yeah.
Some other people would be like, perform is there. But we began, and they used to laugh at us for performing in ghettos.
Yeah.
They used to laugh at us, those local guys who speak Uganda, what. But years down the road, like actually 6 months, 6 months after we had been doing that consistently, we found them in the clubs when they were still waiting for the manager to buy them drinks. Well, for us, we are sending for the whole top row. Give us that whole top row, those bottles, let them come to us.
Is that somewhere you rap? I want to go back 95, yo.
That was Munji. That was my brother.
That was Munji.
Yes.
I was thinking about government, correct?
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's that all those things that you hear in our music really happen. Baba Kubanga Chocolate, because I used to go to shows and people used to say, we only want to see GNL. But because you're like, how about the next generation of the hip hop artists? And I used to be like, okay, if the time is limited, right? Take off 2 songs from my songs, let my artist perform. That's what can I get it? I'm going with Chocolate, but after he leaves, he has some new fans, at least 5. The next time he has 10, 20, 1,000. Right now he's one of the biggest artists. It takes that kind of sacrifice to get there.
Do artists still make such sacrifices like you guys did back in time, where your set is 20 minutes, but then you're like, okay, of the 20 minutes, let me give the 5 minutes to Monji, let me give the other 5 to Keko, and let me keep the 10 minutes.
People are not built not everybody's built like me. By the way, so many people used to tell me, you're being stupid, these people but at the end of the day, I'm so secure in my craft and what I do, I'm so confident that I can go away for 10 years, come back and find my fans. They are here. I can give a spotlight to some other person. Who is talented and be so confident that let him shine. Because it cannot be me, but he can be himself and become something in the future. So very few Ugandans think like that. They create from my mindset of scarcity. The resources in Tononyo, but something about the economy is that if you make money and I make money and he makes money, all of us here make money, guess what? The bank prints more money. The economy grows. Like there's a mind shift that needs to happen. You need to clap for that. Because so many people think from scarcity. Calvin want to take my job. I want to tell Calvin that there's something else. No, that opportunity might be for Calvin, and 3 years later, Calvin might actually call you and hook you up to a bigger opportunity. That's how I think.
Oh yes, Calvin could be your next boss. Now, finally, there are many questions, but we're going to go through this chap. Then maybe later on, GNL will return, and then we do some random questions from the fans, right? Yes, the hip hop is around the corner.
Yes, the hip hop this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean next weekend.
Yeah.
Saturday.
What does yes, the hip hop mean to GNL Zamba? Is it threatening? Some people are feeling some type of way that brother is overshining many people.
The brother is doing what?
That you're overshining, reclaiming his spot and all that.
Guys, now audience, let me ask you: should the sun apologize for shining? Omusana gutuka apologizing I'm so sorry for shining today. God put us on this earth to be the best we can be. Calvin, I've been away for 10 years. Why shouldn't I come back and shine? When I was here, The last time I was here,
Yeah.
the same people still used to complain, GNL gets all the endorsements. GNL is not giving a chance to other people to also shine. But why should I apologize for my greatness? I went away for 10 years. What did you do with it? It's my time. Why should I feel guilty for shining?
Yeah.
Ochilaba. And by the way, this platform, here's the other thing too. This event is not even mine. Ochilaba, it's Swahili Nations saying, let me put together like 100 hip-hop artists from all over the country.
Yeah.
Graffiti artists. It's a celebration of hip-hop. So GNL looked at it and is like, I'm passionate about hip-hop, right? And when they called me to go to the press conference, the moment the press conference ended, everybody said, that's GNL's event, because they feel so threatened by me and my passions that I don't know. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to apologize and play small to satisfy other people's insecurities. You get me? This is hip-hop. No apology. No apology for being great, man. Be great. Be great. Be great.
Guys, you signed Monzi, you signed Big Drill, you signed Keko, amongst others, right? Let me ask you this for the record. Have you ever been signed by Navio?
Like, there is a lie that people tell, right? No Gamba, I know where this lie is coming from, right? Because you analyze their career, right? In 20 years, you have not signed anybody. You have the resources. Because baswala and so like I was signed, you clearly know it. My career began with Shadrach Platinum Entertainment, a label. He paid for all my videos. I wrote songs for Navio, Saluni, Bugumu, Abatuleva Kubengalo, Nata Tusasula, that's all. And he's my brother, but he lies a lot. But like the Pinocchio, I was the Pinocchio cat, telling too many lies. There are so many lies, yet the truth is there. You can go back to the newspapers and see. When did GNL come out? 2008. Who signed him? Shadrach.
So wait.
So my label was not putting money in me.
So were you just affiliated, or it was basically just brotherly love?
Let me tell you a story, because I think it's time to also tell the truth, right?
Please do.
When Clear Cut was doing its thing, Clear Cut came before me. People don't know this, but Clear Cut came before me, right?
Yeah.
They did All I Wanna Know, Juliana, and it was great music, amazing music, right? So we get to a point where these brothers split up, yeah? And Navio comes back from South Africa.
Yeah.
And he tries putting out songs. Nigga songs are not connecting with local people. They are not. So I'm this guy who is in Kawempe, Kasubi, doing my thing in the ghettos, doing my hustle. I'm freestyling, people like Kazora beginning to notice me, what. So once somebody advises them and they says, guys, what if we brought in this guy to at least write a hook?
So that Jinjare.
Bugumu. No, Bugumu, yes, but no, so that Saluni. So they called me in to write Saluni. So when I write Saluni, a time comes when Saluni is a hit. It's one of the biggest songs on the album.
Yeah.
They called me in to do Bugumu, but a time came also where every time the crowds were singing, right? Gate bayimba nnyo sawa mukage kiro full moon. Baby okola ki musamu abantu abamu ne bazimba emitima. That's the fact. That's the fact. Because bali mu family ezimalayo ngati batandika tuyisaamu amaaso wajje wange ne mulya sausages. But we were there to write songs for you. In Kawempe we have sausages too.
So you think now he was triggered?
What?
He was triggered by.
I think some people are born out of entitlement, right? That their entitlement has blinded them to. When they look at people like us who come from Kawempe, until the very, very end. But I'm all about love. I'm all about peace. It's the only time I'm ever answering a question like that, though. Because I've never been signed. That's a blatant lie. Wait.
It is something that we
Russia signing 20 years.
It's something that we had wanted you to clear, and thank you for sharing your truth.
It's a hip hop festival next weekend right now.
Now, I know you have questions. Yeah, but you know I also have Ray G the other side, right? So let's allow GNL to take a break. Yeah, okay, we can't pop champagne on a Saturday morning.
Hey, we have a bottle, we came with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So he will be returning to take your questions. My guys who are tuned in from different media outlets, who are, their colleagues in the industry, please send me those questions. I'm not going to. Please. I'll be asking.